Prayer, I'd like to open this public hearing. Could you take roll call to see if we have a quorum?
Okay. Greg Mazzaro,
Present.
Lou Farah,
Present.
Dave DeLuis,
Present.
Doug Avery,
Present.
Nick Beretta.
Present.
We have a quorum.
I'd like to stand to say the pledge of allegiance. And tonight, during our moment of silence, I'd like everyone to remember Rick Thurston. He was a caterer and a construction person in town, well known by everyone. He passed away earlier today. Very young man, 50 years old, I believe. So keep him in your thoughts. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm going to open up the public hearing, and this is a public hearing before the Town Board of the Town of Seneca Falls, New York, which is held today in the Town Hall Meeting Room, 130 Ovid Street, Seneca Falls, regarding the adoption of proposed local law number 1 for the year 2018. This local law would enact certain amendments to the town code relating to handicap parking on Chapel Street. Copies of the above law are available for inspection at the office of the town clerk of the Town of Seneca Falls, New York, at the town offices, 130 Ovid Street, Seneca Falls, New York. Any resident of town is entitled to be heard upon said proposed local law at such public hearing. Okay. Does anyone want to speak on this public hearing? Anyone?
I'll just note that with regard to this, if anybody has examined the documentation on this, the proposal is for two, not one, two handicap parking places out of the ones mentioned. As far as the designation of location and where, that would be basically coordinated by Jim and also by the chief in consultation with the local, between highway police and the local people. Correct.
Okay. Would anyone like to speak? Okay. Oh, yes.
My opinion, Chapel Street isn't wide enough for anybody. Oh God, I use that street all the time. I don't think that there's room for people parking on the side of the street.
Thank you, ma'am. What, ma'am, we have to take your name. Could you stand up, please? Give your name.
Virginia Cons. I live on Ridge Street, so I go down Chapel all the time to get there, and it's not a very wide street.
Would anyone else like to speak? Yes, sir.
My name's Jeff Wark. I'm with the church, at the Methodist Church there. And this parking area we had requested initially is just going to be during church hours on Sunday. It will be 90% of the time, or if there's a funeral or a wedding, just during those times. It's not going to be for parking, throughout the day or anything. And there's a parking lot there that would be used for that, and these are for spots that for handicapped people for church, essentially. So probably 95% of the time, those spots would be wide open, just be the normal traffic through there. It's just mostly during church hours.
Okay, thank you. Stand up and give your name, please.
Dwayne Bartow. Yes, Jeff should mention that we have the daycare. They drop off kids in the morning and they're out of there by 11:30. So this has been going on for 25, 30 years. And we don't want all these cars jamming in the parking lot because those little ones are gonna get hit. And if you got them on the side of the street to let them out to go into the door there, it's perfect. So, and it is wide there. That one section, because been going on for years. I've been living in this town for over 50 years. Never had a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Greg, am I right though that if it's designated handicapped, it's either yes or no? It can't be handicapped during certain hours or during certain events. I guess it's.
That's correct.
Would anyone else like to speak on this issue? Okay, if no one else wants to speak, I move to close the public hearing. I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. This public hearing is closed.
These are the checks. Okay?
Oh, okay. So,
I didn't get these
we have
out.
to wait
Would you
5
share?
minutes
Yes.
for our regular meeting to start.
Hi, how's Adrian?
Okay, Mrs. Greer, you want to take attendance to see if we have a quorum? Again?
Again?
We have to open up the regular meeting.
Okay.
Because we closed.
All right, Greg Lozero,
Present.
Luke Ferrara,
Present.
Dave Delaney,
Present.
Doug Avery,
Present.
Dick Loretta.
Present.
Okay. We have a quorum.
I'm sorry.
Stand, say the pledge of allegiance, a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. One quick announcement. Channel 12 on Spectrum is now on channel 1304, and our town board meetings are shown on that. It's Saturday at 11 a.m. and Monday at 6 o'clock p.m. So I'm sure everyone's going to put that on their schedule and watch it. That's channel 1304 again. Okay, we have two presentations tonight, as you see. First one is Professor A.E. Ted Ogg. Is that how you pronounce your last name, sir? When Anthony met Stanton sculpture. So,
Do we
Yeah.
stand there?
yeah. I don't believe that's working.
Okay.
Should be.
I just
But you need to stand.
need to stand.
Well, I'd like to begin by thanking the supervisor for meeting with us recently and thanking the town council for agreeing to have us make a presentation tonight. My name is Ted Ogg, and my colleague is,
Gabriella D'Angelo.
didn't forget your name. Right.
I just thought it's it.
We're faculty at Hobart and Louis Smith Colleges in the Department of Art and Architecture. I'm a sculptor and
I'm an architect.
a designer. And we want to talk to you a little bit about the monument here when Anthony met Stanton. And this is all good as we see it.
Pass this out so you guys can follow us as we're presenting.
Two things. The first thing is, it was 20 years ago that the sculpture was dedicated. And that was on the heels of the great event, Celebrate 98, and this is the 20th anniversary, I believe. So we're coming up against a very big celebration in Seneca Falls this year for Convention Days.
Convention days,
Right.
yes, every year,
Okay.
moving toward the year 2020.
Right. So with that in mind, first thing is, I think it needs a good cleaning, and I would be very happy to help supervise that with town maintenance. It's just a little scrubbing, soap and water, and get it looking a little bit better. Down the line, maybe coinciding with the anniversary, centennial of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, we could do a restoration of the patina. That's a little bit more elaborate, and we can talk about that if it's necessary. We'll see what happens after the cleaning. The main reason we're here tonight to talk about the sculpture is that there's a New York City is commissioning for Central Park a sculpture called Monumental Women. And we are submitting a proposal for that competition. It's early, it's preliminary, but part of our proposal involves a version of that sculpture on a site in Central Park. It won't exactly be the same, it will be very similar, and it will involve a foundation that's quite a bit different than the one that exists here. So it would be like a sister monument, and we think this would be a good thing for Seneca Falls and a good thing for New York City. It'll help create the tie between New York City and Seneca Falls, involving the subject of women's rights and the 19th Amendment suffrage. So that's our basic concept. We have it detailed here in our proposal, which we'd like to share with you, and Gabriella will speak to that a little bit. But we're hoping that the town will be sympathetic with this idea, and as a courtesy, we're here to present it and to get your thoughts and see if you think this is also a good idea.
So just to go through a little bit of the presentation here, this is what is existing here in Seneca Falls when Anthony met Stanton again. For those of you, sorry, small presentation. And its location right now, off of the water in relationship to the Women's Rights National Monument or National Park. In the proposal that they have for Central Park, it's right on the mall, which is a really prominent kind of moment in Central Park. It's where there's a bunch of other statues, all male statues. This is the first kind of female statue that will be dedicated in all of Central Park, which is truly monumental and historical. Basically this is just showing the location of where that would be. In our proposal here, on the next page, is just kind of showing how we want to reintroduce the existing sculpture with some kind of additions to it, some kind of refinements to it. And one of those would be the base of it, which right now is, stands on a very kind of simple plinth of sorts that kind of raises it slightly. We want to keep kind of a horizontal motif to our proposal so that it's approachable by everybody, it's engaged, or the scale of it allows for people to engage with it, much like the one that's here in Seneca Falls. We want to incorporate this kind of embracing, radiating element to the base now that basically has these historical women in generations kind of expanding outwards. That would allow for people to not only, again, be able to walk up to the statues, the sculpture themselves, but also be able to do some research and kind of see all of these figures that were truly important in the movement itself. So it becomes an educational moment. The idea right now is that they want it to be located along the mall, off to the side. We're proposing that they're putting it smack dab in the middle of the mall because we think that it's an important enough monument that it deserves that kind of respect. But again, it's just a suggestion of sorts. The monument itself, again, in terms of its scale in comparison to the rest of the monuments in the park, which range roughly about 16 feet tall, majority of them, we're looking for something that's approachable, 7 feet tall, that you can walk right up to. It's more of a horizontal kind of platform as well. So it again is more about embracing, bringing people up and into it. And these are just a few kind of ideas that we are going to be presenting to the folks who are in charge of the competition itself. So, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Ted?
It'll have names, all encircling the monument of important women that were involved with the early women's rights movement, as well as the various waves of activism that took place in the 20th century and into the 21st century. So it'll be inclusive. So that's the basic. Are there any comments or
Yeah, if you have
questions?
any comments or questions, any suggestions, this is something that is, again, will be turning in to be considered by the 14th of February. It will be reviewed by a committee of sorts, and we'll find out if we're heading into the next stage. It's not, for sure at this point in time, there's a lot of competition that we'll be up against, but we think that we have a really great shot, and I think that this is, we think this is a really amazing connection from the town of Seneca Falls out to Manhattan and Central Park.
Okay. And would you like a resolution from this town board supporting your project?
Yes,
We love that,
that
boss.
would be great.
Okay. I don't have a resolution written. We can write one up, I guess, fairly quickly, and maybe not tonight, but I call everyone together
Yeah.
again just to make a motion and make it known that we, as the board, if the board agrees, that
I make a motion that we do a resolution for this and write it up, and you have permission to, that they approve it.
okay,
Second.
discussion. And just, I'll get that resolution to you over as soon as
Thank you.
possible.
Very much.
Thank you for your time
We got it
tonight.
written up here?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So is that a nationwide thing or just
Competition?
new? Yeah,
Yes, it
just
is.
it's for
Yeah.
the entire
Yeah, it is.
nation?
Yeah.
And when do they plan on announcing the winner and putting the sculpture up and all that stuff?
The winner of the competition will be in May
Of 2018?
2018. And there'll be a few stages between now and then to basically take this larger pool of people who are applying, narrowing it down, giving them another shot at it, and then narrowing back down to a winner in the end.
Right.
So,
And it's being timed for the anniversary of the 19th Amendment
Right,
centennial.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, so I'll be in touch with that resolution. I'll get the board members to sign it.
That's all. He's headed down to Kingston right now.
Gabriel? Thank you.
Okay, our next presentation is Kelsey Fiore from Nexamp, a solar farm in Newfield, New York. Kelsey? Yeah.
Thank you, Supervisor and Town Council, for letting me speak. My name is Kelsey Fiore, and I work for Nexamp. We're a community solar developer, and we're based out of Boston, but myself and a couple of my colleagues are based out of New York. So I'm here today to tell you a bit about the community solar farm that we're going to be building in Newfield, New York, that can serve NYSEG residents in 9 surrounding counties, including Seneca, and the town of Seneca, and the opportunity for the town to benefit from our project and the Solarize My Bill program that we have, as well as residents. So this is the biggest turnout I think I've gotten at any board meeting so far. Usually it's about 3 people in the audience, so this is great. So I want to start off just by telling you a little bit about, and I have about a 10-minute presentation. It should be pretty quick. A little bit about who we are at Nexamp. We're new to the area. We are, as I said, a Boston-based company. We're about a decade old, though, and we have 22 of these community solar farms, like the one that we're building in Newfield in Massachusetts. And it's really because of new solar policy and new initiatives in New York that we're able to bring this kind of program and build a farm like this in New York. So we're excited to be here, and I've given a number of these presentations. We've had a number of towns and villages in the area that are interested, so we hope that you'll be interested in participating as well. So Nexamp, a 10-year-old veteran-founded company. We have, as I said, 22 of these projects, and we were recently ranked among the top 3 solar developers in the nation, commercial-scale solar developers in the nation. And while this is a national ranking, it's really a reflection of the work that we've done in the Northeast. And so we're really proud of that ranking, and we're excited to be bringing this kind of program to New York. So I know community solar is kind of a new concept for New York. It's one that has been around for a couple years in Massachusetts, but essentially, some of you may be familiar with it, some of you may not be. Essentially, we build an off-site solar farm. So we're building a 7.5 megawatt farm in Newfields on Millard Hill Road, if you're familiar with it. I know Newfield is nowhere near here. But we build this farm, and then through net metering, we're able to allow you to realize the value of the power that's generated and fed into the grid through net metering credits. And so people who participate in our program get a 10% discount on their NYSEG bill every month. We have the most equitable, flexible program, community solar program in the Northeast, so we're proud of that. And this, I know that we couldn't do a PowerPoint presentation, but if you have an interest in following along, this packet kind of walks you through what a PowerPoint would have done. So as I mentioned, we're only able to do this type of program and build this type of project in states that have really forward-thinking solar policy, and New York has really become a leader in this area. It allows developers like us to build this kind of project and offer a really flexible program that's good for our customers. In terms of the service area, if you look, I like to include a map. I find it helpful, and anyone who wants to take a look at one of these afterwards is welcome to. So as I said, this is a pretty large service territory that this farm will serve. It's 9 counties, and we'll be able to serve about 750 to 1,000 residents, depending on how much electricity each uses. This is something that municipal buildings could sign up for, residents, nonprofits, small commercial buildings. So it's really open to a lot of people. In terms of our specific program, our program is called Solarize My Bill, as I said, and essentially it's a 10% discount off of your NYSEG bill every month. As I said, this is an extremely flexible program. If you sign up and you decide you want to leave the program at any point in time, there's no cancellation fee. We do ask for 90 days notice so that we can let NYSEG know that they no longer need to apply net metering credits to your bill. But there's no sign-up cost, there's no cancellation fee. It's honestly a pure savings program, a no gimmicks program. You know, my husband says to stop saying that because it sounds cheesy, but it's true. So this is also, our program is unique in that there's no credit check, and as I said, there's no cancellation fee, and no other community solar program in New York can say that. So I want to leave a couple of minutes for questions, but I included in here a sample NexAmp invoice from us and a sample NYSEG utility bill. So once you sign up with us, we're not an ESCO. We also don't become your provider. So you keep NYSEG as your provider, but they apply net metering credits based off of the clean energy that our farm produces to your bill every month. And then we're, by doing a bill analysis and seeing how much electricity you use on a monthly basis, we're able to offset most, if not all, of your costs. Other than there's a service fee and tax that everybody has to pay to NYSEG. And then we bill you for 90% of what you would have paid to NYSEG. And so that's where the 10% saving comes in. So that is our program in a nutshell. It can be a little complicated at first, but essentially we're building this farm in Newfield. We're enrolling individuals now. Our program's called Solarize My Bill. If anyone's interested in getting a free bill assessment, you can go to solarizemybill.com, and if you upload your most recent NYSEG bill, we can tell you about what your monthly savings would be each month and what portion of the farm would be allocated to you.
Kelsey, when would it be operational?
We're hoping it'll be operational. We're hoping to break ground in mid-February, so within the next couple of weeks. and then operational by early summer. And these are rough dates because obviously it depends on, you know, how much snow we get, but we've constructed these projects in the winter before.
For those people who have NYSEG as a carrier, or as the provider, but have another service.
Have an ESCO?
Yep.
Yeah, so they're still eligible to participate.
They're still-
Doesn't change your relationship with your supply or delivery. And this is getting a little into the weeds, but we do ask that if you don't have integrated billing, it's really worth looking into if you're interested in participating in our program. A lot of people who have an ESCO have their supply right on their NYSEG bill. We can only offset the kilowatt hours that are on your bill, on your NYSEG bill. So if you get a separate bill from your ESCO before participating with us, if you were interested, it would make sense for you to get your supply integrated into your NYSEG bill so that you can get savings on
How
both.
does that stack up to, not NYSEG, but the other carrier that you have? If you left NYSEG and went to another provider, you're obviously doing it because it's less. And then you would take, you know what I'm saying?
Another ESCO?
Yeah. You know what I mean? I left NYSEG to go with another provider, right, other than NYSEG.
Another
And
supplier.
then if I go
Okay.
back, how is the solar based on what I left?
So this is only for NYSEG customers.
Right.
If you do have another supplier, that's fine. The discount is based off of what's on your NYSEG bill.
Right.
So if you have an ESCO, another supplier, an energy supply company, whatever that total amount is, and I think it might help if I kind of walk through exactly how the net metering credits are applied. So we would take a look at, if any individual is interested in participating in our program, such as the Village of Odessa recently sent us its municipal bills, and we did an assessment for each of them. And basically what we do everything in-house. Emily Hart is the individual on our program who does the actual bill assessments. She looks at your historical usage. When you send in your NYSEG bill, there's a historical usage chart on the 3rd or 4th page. And we're able to see over the past year how much electricity you've used each month. And then we get a sense of a ballpark of about how much you use on a monthly basis. And we would give you an allocation of the farm, a kilowatt hour allocation of the farm that matches your kilowatt hour usage every month. So we're trying to offset your entire NYSEG bill, other than that service charge and tax, with net metering credits, which are derived from your participation in our farm. Yeah.
Get that? Yeah. We got it all. We got it all.
And then, so you could receive a bill. So every month we would offset most, if not all, of your supply and delivery. Everything, again, other than that service charge, which is $15 or $16, and tax, which is about $1. So you could receive a bill on a monthly basis from NYSEG that's $17. You then would receive a bill from us charging you 90% of what you would have paid to NYSEG for supply and delivery. So if were supposed to owe them $100, you'd pay us $90 instead.
So the town of Seneca Falls could do this.
Yes. So for each of your municipal buildings, you could send in those NYSEG bills, as long as you include the historical chart so that we can get a really accurate read, because this past month's bill might not be, representative of most months.
It's been very warm here.
So we did it. Then we can give you, and it's a placeholder allocation. So if at any point in time, and this is for individuals too, if at any point in time you need to increase the portion of the farm that you have, if you start, for an individual, I guess, if you have 3 teenage daughters, well, I'll start using the hair blow dryer, and they never did before. And all of a sudden your monthly electricity usage goes way up, or you get an electric vehicle or whatever it may be, we can increase your portion of the farm in any 3-month interval. It always takes a little time to actually put that into place.
Kelsey, how's it work if you're on a budget?
If you were on a budget,
Yeah.
so this is a free program.
No, I'm just saying, you're on NICEAG and you're on a budget, just paying a certain amount every month.
If- I'm confused about the question.
Huh?
If you're on a
NICEAG
NICEAG
budget, yeah.
program,
Program, yeah.
so there are certain programs, sorry, I didn't understand your question initially. There are certain programs through NICEAG where if you participate in those programs, you wouldn't be eligible. I haven't run into that very often. We'd have to look at the specific program. It would be worth sending in your bill if that was the case, and we could let you know. But in terms of, just to clarify, in terms of like Catch the Wind program, some people participate in renewable energy programs. You could still participate in that and participate in our Solarize My Bill program. Yes.
Do you still have to pay there's a transition fee, like we pay transition fees for NICEAG? What is covered underneath this? Do I still have to pay the transition fees?
So that I think would be covered under your net metering credits. It's only the service fee and the tax that we can't offset. Is the transition fee in kilowatt hours? Is it expressed in?
Well, NICEAG charges you for power, and then they charge you for running it to your house. They give you a charge for going down the line.
Right.
So is that part of the charge that you're offsetting as a company, or you just the power plant?
Is that fee expressed in kilowatt hours?
Not that you are.
So that might be the service fee. We might be talking about the same thing here. I think that's the service fee. A lot of that goes to like maintenance of the grid, and everybody has to pay that to NICEAG. We can't offset that. But we can offset everything else.
You mentioned, what was the figure, 1,000 to maybe 800 as an average households that this could take care of?
We estimate about 750 to 1,000 households, and again, that depends on, if we get a really large account, a household or a small
Well, that's what I was
business.
wondering, if you include towns or big dairy, what's the chances of you reaching that 750 figure with the different people that are
So,
listening now?
first of all, there's plenty of space left.
Okay.
We are hoping to be fully enrolled by the end of March, but we definitely don't have to worry about that yet. Also, we can only, again, I don't want to get too into the weeds, but we can only serve certain rate classes. So this program really isn't, large commercial buildings really aren't eligible. Any building that has a demand charge. So some of your municipal buildings probably do have a demand charge, and for those, we likely wouldn't be able to have them participate in the program. But what we found with Odessa and other towns and villages is there are often several buildings that don't have demand charges, and so you can still save on those. So what we're hoping for, and I know my presentation is probably up, what we're hoping for is that the council will vote on this, or take the appropriate measures and see if you're interested in participating and sending in your municipal bills for an assessment. And if you're also interested in working with us to help with town outreach to the residents here.
We'll be discussing it over the next few weeks,
Okay.
make a decision.
Great, thank you so much. I'll have a copy of our business card.
Okay, we have some petitioners. And to the department heads, if any of you wanted to look at this for yourself, for your separate buildings, go ahead. If you had any questions, call up the company yourself and make suggestions to the board, okay? Okay, our first petitioner is Chris Lytle. He's going to speak about grants. Chris, you, petitioners have 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes or 2 pages, whichever comes first. Thank you for the opportunity to make a presentation recommending that the town board invest in a significant increase in seeking grants from state and federal sources. I think it's a unique opportunity with the recent budget decision not to include Seneca Meadows host agreement fees. There is some possible money available. I'm sure you're getting a lot of ideas about how to spend the money. This is another one. Hopefully this will have a good return on investment. But it's a unique opportunity to really invest in some planning grants and then following up on planning grants once the plans are developed to ask for implementation grants. And I've done a lot of work in grant seeking, and this is not a pitch for my services. I don't do municipal grants and state grants. There are people that specialize in that, and you already know a number of them. And also Seneca Falls has done a lot of very good work in preparing a comprehensive plan and economic development plan. I recently attended a meeting of the Seneca Falls Development Corporation, and they went through their plans, and they've done a lot of great work on this. The comprehensive plan is very good, and the updated economic development plan is very good. So a lot of work has been done already. Apparently there just isn't the money to implement the plans. So there was a conversation about updating those plans. And I would make the argument that rather than simply updating the comprehensive plan and the economic development plan, that there have been significant changes in the situation in Seneca Falls. There has been, since the comprehensive development plan was put together over 12 years ago, the town and the village have consolidated and merged. The local law 3 has pretty much ensured that Seneca Meadows host agreement fees will be gone in 2025 or after 2025. So we want to make sure we keep Kyle and Mark and everybody at Seneca Meadows employed. We need to raise some more money in other ways in order to maintain and not lose money and have to raise taxes again. I did read the Finger Lakes Economic Development Council's strategic plan. I've read our strategic and economic plans, as well as talked to some folks in Geneva that I know that do grant seeking. And there were some common themes that ran through everything. One is that they really had to make a board-wide decision on seeking grants. They really are looking to do this over the long run, year in, year out. Every day they're doing work on some grant. So the consistency, the continuity, and also the coordination. Ideally, everybody knows what everybody else is submitting, so there aren't duplicates. That Seneca Falls Development Corporation knows exactly what's being submitted. Town Board knows what's being submitted. It's being coordinated with Martin and with Judas. So the grant makers will look at that. They will know who's being serious and who's opportunistic. Is that my 3 minutes?
It's your 3 minutes.
Wow, okay. The one thing I would really suggest, the real bottom line, is that the comprehensive plan, rather than just trying to update it, to really do a new update, really do a new comprehensive plan, because the text that's in there will serve in proposals. It's really the backbone of all grant seeking. So simply trying to update it may not be sufficient to be successful in grants, and I encourage the town to invest some of the money that may be available from the host agreement and invest that in a long-term grant-seeking operation. Thank you.
Thank you. Take about 30-second recess. I gotta ask Lucy, I see someone in the audience. Okay, I see someone in the audience who I wasn't sure was gonna be here tonight, so there's gonna be one more person who makes a presentation, and that's Pam Davis, if you still wanna make that presentation.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have you come up now, but
Yeah, thank you.
I apologize, I wasn't sure whether you're gonna be here tonight. And Pam, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is a property issue, which most of you know about or are aware of. My name is Pamela Lannon Davis. I am here advocating on behalf of my mother, Joan Lannon, and our property. Excuse me. Our neighbor, Pat McDermott, has encroached on our property by having an unpermitted wall built. I have obtained a FOIL form from the town. The findings are that there were no permits from the historical committee, from the Seneca County, from the town, and a variance to have it done. No permits. She is in violation of the town's building codes. No enforcement of our rule, of your own rules. Pat has admitted in writing that she has encroached on our property. Our property has been surveyed in 1969 and 2 times in 2017 that I had to pay for. Charles Carroll has said all of the surveys were the same. I've spoken to several reputable attorneys, and they told me to go back to the town. This is their responsibility. They need to send her a letter, tell her to take the wall down. I pay taxes on this property, and I can't use it. Any questions? I have pictures.
If you could get that, can you send a letter, email? Can you email us with that information? Email each board member. Do you have the email addresses of the board members? Okay, you can find them on senecafalls.com. And Kim and I have addresses in our office. If you could send that information to each board member,
Okay.
and then we'll respond to you, okay?
Can I show a picture? Real quick, my 3
Yeah,
minutes
real
are
quick,
up.
go ahead.
You're still on the clock.
I'm still on the clock.
Yeah,
You've seen it.
I've seen it.
You want to say that?
Pam, I want to show the Dave Shaw, you next time.
Been there too. He's been there. Some people haven't. Is there a time frame that I can figure this out? I want to get this done. I want to figure this out.
Well, send us the email and we'll be discussing it.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Glad I saw you in the audience.
Oh,
Should've
okay,
waved your
okay,
hand.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, our next petitioner is Jean Gilroy.
Well, I'm going to use the podium because I may faint. I want to thank the board for all their hard work, and I also want to thank all those gentlemen sitting over there, especially the highway department that's been filling my pothole at least 3 times in the last 3 weeks. I appreciate that. On your agenda, Nikki listed 10 quick questions, but she left out the second part of my speech. It's 10 quick questions because I am so confused. So I have some questions for the board. I do not expect you to answer them, but I want to get them out there. These are things that my friends have been talking about, my church has been talking about, questions that we're not getting answers for that we need more transparency. Number one, did the landfill, SMI, fulfill their fourth quarter host agreement payment? And was the money put into the general fund? Did the town of Seneca Falls receive full revenue for the landfill leachate for 2017? And are they being billed in a timely fashion? Was the money put into the general fund or into water and sewer? All municipalities are required to have a comprehensive plan. Do we have one? Is it an operative guide for our town board decisions? And where do I find an updated version? Our current host agreement with SMI clearly identifies what constitutes a violation of the host agreement. Are we closely monitoring any violations? And who is responsible for enforcement of the agreement? And what are the ramifications for violations? In respect to our current town budget, which was adopted in January, our town attorney stated that he met several times with SMI officials. He then recommended that the town board adopt a budget limited in or totally devoid of landfill host agreement payments. This in turn would require a substantial increase in our town taxes paid for by our citizens. Were these meetings directed by the entire town board and attended by any member of the board? Did SMI threaten to stop payment on host agreement funds, which they are legally responsible for, until 2025? Was this the impetus for our budget devoid of any monetary input from SMI, requiring a substantial increase in our town taxes, and also fulfilling the propaganda promoted by SMI? And I'm out of time, but don't worry because I've got copies.
Okay, our next petitioner is Allison Stokes, and she's going to speak on town issues.
Mrs. Gilroy, can I have? Jean? Wait, one more, I just needed one more copy.
We have to share.
Okay, thank you. I don't like each other.
Anybody else?
Thanks.
Go ahead.
Okay. On May 10th, the first public hearing on eminent domain for the Ludovico Sculpture Trail was held. The second public hearing was scheduled for tonight, but then changed. The reason Town Attorney Foster gave for the necessity of this legal process and therefore a second hearing was, quote, terms of an easement could not be worked out, unquote. I ask, in the 7 months since between May and last month's board meeting when the second hearing date was set, what negotiations were actually held? During those months, did Supervisor Lazaro have any conversations with the trail owners? Did Town Attorney Foster have any conversations with them? Did Barton and LaJudas have any conversations with them? I suggest that the reason the terms of an easement have not been worked out is that there has been, in fact, a lack of communication between the parties. I ask tonight for an indefinite postponement of an eminent domain legal process. There must be some real communication first. The trail owners have countless questions. unanswered questions about the town engineer's pipeline proposal. So do town residents. To give just a small example, much has been said about the inconvenience of running a pipeline down Baird Street, but what do engineering studies project the cost of this would be? It seems quite possible that the cost of installing a 14-inch pipeline 10 feet below the trail, not to mention lawyers' fees for eminent domain expertise, could actually be far more expensive. Barton and LaJudas have offered no figures comparing the relative cost of the two projects. Although the pipeline will be 10 feet below ground every 400 feet, I repeat, every 400 feet, a pit must be dug at the surface of the trail to connect the 14-inch pipe. How many pits do the engineers figure there will be in a trail more than 1.5 miles long? What happens if the underground drilling hits rock? What about cost overruns? How many months will this take? How noisy will the drilling be? What exactly will the sewer vents look like? How many will there be along the trail? Will there be odor from the sewer gases? How will the vents be disguised? A new trail sewer line is planned to cross Bridge Street and run down Canal Street. Are there easement agreements in place with the National Women's Hall of Fame and the property owner next door to the hall on Canal Street, presumably Mr. Bonifiglia? Why move forward with eminent domain if all necessary agreements are not already in place? I could go on for a long time raising questions that have not been addressed. Some of these are in a timeline I have handed out for you. And I conclude with an announcement. 2 weeks from tomorrow, February 21st, there will be a public forum on the Sculpture Trail from 7 to 9 at the Gould Hotel, sponsored by the Seneca Falls Environmental Action Committee. This is for Seneca Falls residents. Thank you.
Our next petitioner is Mr. William McHale. He's going to speak on good government. Mr. McHale. No? Mr. McHale left, okay. Mr. Stan Fraskowitz, taxes and user fees, and welcome again, Stan.
Thank you for allowing me to speak here tonight. Gentlemen of the town board, there are two major concerns every municipality should take into account when it comes to significantly raising user fees and property taxes. One, every local government should be extremely sensitive to the capacity of its citizens to pay for increased user fees and taxes. Two, every local government should be totally aware of the destructive nature high user fees and high taxes can have on the well-being, even the continuance of a municipality. First, let's take a look at the capacity of the citizens in Seneca Falls to pay for higher user fees and high taxes. The median household income in Seneca Falls, as cited in city data, is $44,047. Cited further is the 15.5% rate that of people here who live in poverty. Between 55 and 65% of the citizens in Seneca Falls earn less than $60,000 a year. In many households in this town, people are lucky if they have $3,000 in cash after taxes to meet all their needs. From these numbers, one can readily see that moderate wage earners comprise the vast majority of people in Seneca Falls. From these numbers, it can be readily concluded that taxpayers in Seneca Falls have a very low capacity to pay huge increases in property taxes and user fees. One of the primary consequences of high property taxes and user fees is the phenomenon known as community abandonment. When citizens can no longer pay huge taxes and fees, they leave a community and find a place where they can survive. For your edification, this has been happening in Seneca Falls for the last 3.5 decades since 1980. It began slowly but has gathered momentum in the last 16 years. Since the year 2000, Seneca Falls' population rate has dropped 5.4%. According to U.S. Decennial Census statistics, the abandonment rate is even higher than 5.4%. When one considers the astounding numbers of properties that have been removed from the tax rolls for one reason or another here. When tax revenues drop significantly, more often than not, the financial troubles follow. When financial difficulties take hold, more often than not, state government intercedes and takes over management of the municipality. There are many examples of this throughout the United States. If we here in Seneca Falls do not learn from history, we will be doomed to relive it. Gentlemen of the town board, moderate wage earners have built Seneca Falls. Should these salt of the earth wage earners be forced to leave us, we will be in deep financial difficulty. Therefore, I urge you to exercise your fiduciary duty and once again make life affordable for the taxpayers of the historic town of Seneca Falls, New York.
Thank you, sir. Okay, our next petitioner is Kyle Black, landfill update.
Good evening. Thank you for the time to address the board. I'm going to do it in a similar fashion with which I did last year. Here is the fourth quarter payment. $658,000.
Thank you.
That brings our total payment for the year to $3.209 million that has been paid to the town. And I'll point out on a budget of $2.3 million. So the other fact I would like to point out is our 18-year strong commitment to the town with host community agreements. And here's another check that symbolizes the $47.5 million that we have worked this partnership with the town over the last 18 years through the host community agreement and in good faith that we would like to continue with this board. So I would invite the board, I'd like to sit down with the board to see if we can come to some agreement on this litigious relationship that we have seemed to have fostered the last 18 months or so that is not good for the taxpayers. It's not good for our business. It's not good for our community, which I think is why a lot of people are here tonight. So I invite the board to come to, let's come to an agreement on something instead of paying lawyers and working in courts.
Okay. Thank you, Kyle, and thank you for your continued support of Seneca. Approval of minutes. A, special meeting, December 11th, 2017. Year-end meeting, December 29th, 2017. Reorganization and regular meeting, January 2nd, 2018. An informational meeting, January 16th, 2018. I so move. I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I have various reports here. I make a motion to approve the door control officer report. I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. Dalen, do you have anything to say?
No, nothing other what's in my report.
Okay, thank you. I make a motion to approve the, we didn't vote on that? Okay, door control. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to approve the Town of Seneca Falls zoning office report.
Second.
Discussion. Seeing no discussion, I'll go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to approve the Commissioner of Parks and Recreation report.
Second.
Discussion. Seeing no discussion, we'll go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to approve the Town of Seneca Falls Highway Department report.
Make the motion.
Motion made and seconded.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Greg, I'd like to add one more thing. I'd just like to thank my highway crew and the water crew for a great job they did on the snow removal in the two business districts. They did it in a timely fashion once the snow was moved to the curb and after all the road was plowed, and they did a great job.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The assessor's not with us tonight, she's ill, so I make a motion to approve her report.
Second.
Discussion. Seeing no discussion, we're going to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Do you have any words from the town attorney?
Just a couple of items under old business, but we'll do it when we get to that.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the town justice's report.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to approve the town of Seneca Falls water and sewer report.
Motion, I'll make it.
Motion made. Properly second. Discussion.
Yeah. Joe, what's the short version of why did we have 3 water main breaks, and is that usual?
The recent ones?
Yeah, they're in your report. You said 3
Yeah,
water main.
one of them was an old galvanized pipe that just rotted where threads were. So we're going to be looking at replacing that whole main. And one of them definitely happened from the thaw and the refreeze and the thaw again. The one on Stevenson. And the one on Fall Street was just old. You know, pipes moving in the ground, rubbing against rocks, and just wearing out over time.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I have a motion, I make a motion to approve the Seneca Falls Police January 2018 monthly report.
One second.
Discussion. Yes, sir.
I'd just like to publicly thank all the department heads and all the different agencies that participated in the January 20th March event that we had here in Seneca Falls. We had guesstimated to be about 15,000 people here for that event. And we had help from a lot of different town employees, obviously our agency, state, county, DEC, you name it, they were there to help, and made a very successful event.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to approve the Barton and LaJudas report.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made and properly seconded. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, we'll go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to approve all communications.
One second.
Discussion. Seeing no discussion, we'll go to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Just wanted to highlight one communication we received from the police union, and our representatives will be outside counsel, Jim Romer and Earl Redding, in the upcoming negotiations. Under old business, yeah.
Under old business, we have a couple of properties that are still in process of either being completed or possibly there may be rescission of some of the contracts for sale. We're still in the process of trying to determine what the prospective purchasers wish to do, and as soon as we can get some kind of an answer on that, we'll have a meeting. I'll request an attorney-client meeting with the board, and then we will announce at our next meeting what the status of that is. On another topic, I'm happy to report that during the past month, there was a very substantial meeting at the county level with regards to 414 sewer line transfer. This involved locating and updating some potential easements. Documentation has been recovered, put together, and the continuation of the county, the overall county plan is in progress. So we'll know more, you'll hear more about that as that goes forward. Those are the two items that I can report on under the old business.
The Highway Department and the new camera system.
I don't have an update on that.
Do you have any update on that?
As far as I do.
Yeah. That was under all business, and we
Along that-
discussed it, should be taken off.
That should be taken
Yeah,
off.
okay.
Yeah, I'll take it off.
Yeah,
I think we voted on that, not the.
yeah,
we did.
that's,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, under new business, approval of special events. Jim? Proposed local law number 1 of 218, amend code parking provisions. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I need a second on that.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
This is in regard to the handicap parking on
Yeah,
Chapel.
yeah.
Yes, and that's going to be 2 handicap. I think, I'm not sure which version you have, but it should be updated to say not 1, but rather 2 handicap parking places, and that's consistent with, I believe, the residents with highway and with the chief.
Total of 5 spots.
5 spots.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, we'll go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The water and sewer purchase of a dump truck. Joe, you want to give us a little information on that?
Sure, it's for a 10-wheel dump truck. It's on a state bid. We had 2 bids. I only showed you the lowest bid. It's basically, we're not getting rid of, but we're replacing a 2005 smaller dump truck that holds about a third of what this one does. We're going to be using this one mainly to haul sludge. It'll cut down from 4 trips a week to 2. And we'll also cut down on trips to the quarry, which we also make often, picking up 3 times as much each time we have to go. When we do water main raise, so we have to take 3 trips. It'll take this one pickup stuff. So we are going to keep the 2005 in service until it's basically unserviceable.
So, I make a motion to purchase a 2019 International 6x4 dump truck for $136,774.49 from Regional International Corporation.
I'll make the motion.
I made the motion. Is that a second, Lou?
Second it.
Second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
By the way, that was budgeted for 160, and we got 136.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. Okay, do you want to talk about the water sewer purchase of 2 skid steers?
Yes. Trading in a skid steer is approximately 3 years old. We're getting almost what we paid for it, because we get a 30% discount. And we're also trading in 1985 backhoe, which really isn't doing us much good. We're getting a bigger skid steer than the other one at the plant. And this one's to be used out of Oak Street with the water crew. That's replacing that 1985 backhoe. We're trading in 2015 skid steer and a 1985 backhoe, and purchasing 2 new, which are listed here. And that's all under state bid. And this contractor, this dealer met all the state bid prices.
So I'll make a motion to purchase 2 new skid steers at a total of, and plus trade-in, at a total of $59,161.72.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Joe, water and sewer purchase equipment trailer.
Equipment trailer is to carry our excavator and the other equipment that's on it. And the trailer that we're using now for the excavator is going to be used to carry the new skid steer that we just purchased. So we're basically swapping trailers. Because this one's, the trailer we have now, we're at capacity on the smaller trailer. So we need to get a bigger trailer to hold what we were using that for. And this is also
The axle weight's rated higher than this one.
much higher. Yes.
That's good.
And this is also, we had 2 bids, and I just presented the lower bid to you for the same, I do have a copy, I'm going to see any of the second bids. So it was $12,400 for Mid-Lakes trailer.
Okay. I'll make a motion to purchase the trailer at a price of $12,400.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Is that
All-
all in the budget?
All in favor?
Absolutely.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, Joe, you want to discuss the
Yes.
Deer Drive?
Deer Drive is, it's a purchase for our final tanks. Last year, we had the Deer Drive on one of our final tanks go, and we were in an emergency situation. And this is a sole source purchase, so it matches the other one we bought last year. And we're gonna put this in stock. It's also budgeted for. We're gonna put this, have it on hand, so when the other one fails, which was the same age as the one that failed last year, we're ready to install. Like I said, we didn't get another price because it's a sole source, so we have the same gear drive as the other tank.
And make a motion to purchase a gear drive. The price is $6,271.
I'll second that.
Is there further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Joe?
Last one.
The nozzle?
Last one for purchase. This is for a nozzle, because around town, we've been having issues when we do our maintenance on our sewer flushing. We call it blowing up people's toilets, but it's actually sending air through the line and, blowing the traps up into the homes with our nozzle. So we did some research, and we had a vendor come out and demo a nozzle that will not blow up these toilets, so we can do a better job. We've been skipping some areas that we know people's toilets have, done some, made some messes in their bathrooms. It looks quite expensive, but it's,
Is this one of these spin nozzles?
No, it's not a spin. It's just, instead of having a wide angle come out, what it does is pushes the air up people's laterals. It pushes straight back, more straight back, and it pulls itself back. We need to keep our maintenance going, but we don't want to have push water into people's houses.
Okay, I make a motion to purchase the sewer jet nozzle for a price of $3,137.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Joe, you want to talk about the creation of a second full-time laborer position?
Yes, with all the work coming up and we don't see any end in sight, we've decided to hire 2 full-time laborers instead of 1, and we needed to create another position so that we have the position so we can fill.
Okay, and what was the hourly salary?
Oh, sorry, the hourly salary is $15.24.
Okay, I make a motion to create a second full-time laborer position at the hourly salary rate of $15.24.
Can I add something to that?
I need a second.
I'm sorry, second.
Second. Discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say that when we were a village, we were 3 square miles, I believe. And we had how many people in the village?
I believe there were 13.
13. Now we're townwide. We don't have we need the manpower.
We have 8 now.
Yeah,
So
and we're operating on 8. So we're at 20 some odd square miles now. And to justify this, Joe and I talked about it, and I did do the research, but they did have more employees back then, and they weren't doing quite what these guys are doing now. So that's where we're at with it.
This was in the budget as well?
Yes.
Yes, it wasn't an item, but there is money in the budget.
Yes, there's money.
This is also for our big projects of Center Street.
Not so much Center Street, but the sewer separation.
Sewer separation.
All the sewer separation. And the maintenance of the sewer mains and of the system flushing, and flushing of all the hydrants. And then continue the painting project.
I understand the logic and, you know, we talked and I just, this is a tough sell to these people after we purchased all this equipment, regardless of the fact that it's in the budget. I mean, we're gonna take a PR hit, even if it's a just purchase, if it's a right purchase. This is tough to swallow tonight because
We have to do,
I know.
we have to get our work done.
And I feel like
You
I
guys
should-
want to do the work.
I need to apologize to Stan Praskowitz.
Can I add to that? It's unfortunate that, you know, we did what we did as far as the money for the taxes. I mean, but we still have to operate as a town, you know, and that's the part that makes it less sufferable for me, is that everybody's entitled to good water and sewer. I mean, you have to do it.
And we want to keep their water out of their basements and out of their homes.
We have a lot of that. Carroll
Treated.
Avenue.
And treat it before it goes in the canal.
Okay, someone want to make that motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Yeah, for us to go to discussion. Discussion motion in a second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Water and sewer fill full-time laborer position.
So this line's going to be 2 positions.
So I make a motion to fill a full-time laborer position.
So moved. Make the motion.
Yeah.
You need the name.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Highway, Jim, you want to talk about purchase of LED lights and globes for downtown?
Yeah, I received one quote from Jacob Lighting for a purchase of 66 LED retrofit ornamental lights. These are all custom-made replacement lights and 10 globes. The price on it is $21,594. And we received a credit for them this year, $3,500 this year and $3,500 next year. So that brought the price down to $18,094. And that should take care of the promenade down by the canal. And then next year, we'll start on these subdivisions that we got.
So the total price is what?
$18,094. You should have it in your packet.
Yeah.
What do you have that budget?
Yeah, that is the budgeted item, yes.
I make a motion to purchase LED lights and globes for downtown at a price of $18,094.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Can I ask a question?
No, sir. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The contribution to convention days. And I have a note here. Yeah. Seneca Falls Convention Days Incorporated would like to ask for a release of our allotted funds. With the funds to convention days, it will help us to continue keeping alive the historic event that took place in Seneca Falls in 1848. We hope that the town board will participate in some of the various activities that are planned for the weekend. Thank you for supporting our great cause and always keeping our community first. And that donation would be for $500, and that comes from Fran Barberry, treasurer of Convention Days. So I make the motion
Second.
for $500. Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Do I have any information on this?
That's the education expenses for us to go to New York for the conference.
What's-
New York State Conference Association.
How much?
We usually get for.
Okay, so what's the total? I make a motion to advance $1,600 for the 4 people who are going to the New York City Association for Towns meeting, New York State Association for Towns meetings, which will be in New York.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to approve the final budget transfers. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to adopt the investment policy for the town of Seneca Falls.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Yeah, we've done both.
And the audit. Greg, on the audit of these court records by.
This is on the order of court record by Councilman.
Yeah.
And let me read this letter first. and then-
Okay.
Okay, Section 2019A of the Uniform Justice Court Act requires the town and village justices annually provide their court records and dockets to the respective town and village auditing boards, and that such records be examined or audited, and that fact be entered into minutes of the board's proceedings. Dave and Doug did that audit, and you want to make a motion?
Well, we met with Judge Lafler on 131 and went through his cash receipt books, cash disbursement books, cash book reconciliation, justice court funds. We looked at all the figures and made sure everything was in the books okay. And on the 5th, we met with Judge Lacatari and went through the same thing, and I have copies of that right here to hand into the state from Doug and I.
Yeah. Okay, so I make a motion to approve those audit reports.
I'll second it.
Discussion. favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I make a motion to disperse funds for our local development corporation at $55,560.
Second it.
Discussion.
Yes. At this time, I'd like to request that maybe their president or representative come before the board, maybe once a month or every other month, and let us know their progress to see how they're doing.
Okay. Yep.
You know, we're vested in them, just to get an update on how they're doing.
And those meetings are the fourth Thursday of every month, generally at 5 o'clock
Yeah.
at the Generations Bank conference room. Okay, so I made the motion, it was properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I'd like to make a motion to amend the professional services of 2017 town designated engineering services. Made a motion, I need a second.
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I'm going to sign this this time. I'd like to make a motion to amend professional services Kingdom Road, Force, Main / Auburn Road gravity sewer.
Second it.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I'd like to make a motion to amend professional services for 2018.
No, Center Street.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the scope of services and fee proposal for the Center Street water main replacement.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I'd like to make a motion to amend professional services for the 2018 town designated engineering services.
Second it.
Discussion.
I'd like to thank Pete and John. They've been doing real great in 2017 on keeping our costs down. And I'm sure in 2018, I think it's been working pretty good. I know they get paid for 10 minutes, what is it, 2-something?
Well, 10 minutes or 4 hours.
10 minutes or 4, that's what I'm saying, or 4 hours, and it doesn't matter if they're both here, or 3 of, sometimes we've had 3 of them here. And I think it's great that you just charge us that one fee now, that we're not paying for 3 people.
I would join in that, and I would say that the level of cooperation and contact between Mr. Condino and Mr. Baker has been very, very good, and they've been very, very helpful in providing us, digging up all kinds of reports or other items that we needed and supplying that information to us. Thank you.
Also, when we had some flooding of basements, and they had one of our engineers out of Rochester Valentine. We had a pole, a telephone pole that was built through a broken, through a line, and it was putting water into the sewer. the stormwater and water under the sewer, so I'm hoping that alleviates the problem over there on Joanne Drive. I mean, they've been working real good with it, so.
I made a motion, it was properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to set a public hearing for Ludovico Trail eminent domain hearing. And
That's the resolution.
the
That's the
resolution.
resolution setting the date,
Yeah.
right?
You need to note the actual notice, you should have it attached to it.
Yeah, we
There you go. Should be March 6th.
6 o'clock.
Okay, so the hearing, we'll hold a public hearing at March 6th at 6 o'clock here in the town offices, in this room, on the eminent domain. So I make a motion,
I'll second that.
discussion.
Just want to advise that this originally was scheduled to go through the February date, which would have been tonight's date. In the interim, we were contacted by counsel from Rochester, Sheila Califo, who indicated that she was retained counsel for the trail. And she has been in contact with our counsel regarding certain information she wanted by Freedom of Information Act release that has been prepared, collated, and made available to her, which is one of the reasons we set this off in the interest of making sure that all information was shared by that group, by those interested parties, prior to having the public hearing. So as a result of that, this is being set on for the March 6th date, at which time there will be a public hearing at 6 o'clock right here, and followed by request for adoption of the resolution. All adjoining property owners will be also notified by certified mail return receipt requested, and all interested parties will be made available with the proper documents for that evening. There was a suggestion earlier in the evening of why did we not follow up with contact with either the group or its members? It's because they're represented by counsel, and counsel obviously would not want us speaking to their clients. We are communicating directly with Sheila, and will continue to do so, and the public hearing will be held on that evening.
But if Allison's timeline is to be believed, no one has spoken to the family that owns the trail since July 22nd of 2016. And I know they're finding counsel is a relatively new development. So to me, we had this conversation, eminent domain is the last resort. And it may prove to be necessary somewhere down the line, but we're not ready if no one has spoken to those people
That's not
in
accurate.
almost 2 years without the threat of eminent domain in the dialogue.
And I would tell you that that's not accurate, and I base that upon my conferences with previous counsel to this position.
And the other thing, and I don't know to dispute it, so, but the other thing is.
I do.
Okay. But
I
is
wasn't here.
Allison's point, why are we doing this now without having the other properties all lined up?
Well, I think you'll find in the presentation that all of the other properties, any and all possible alternatives are part of the public discussion, and part of the presentation that will be made are for any and all possible routes, which is our requirement under the law to show each and every available route, whether it's on the opposite side of the canal, whether it's under the canal, whether it's to the right of the canal, or whether it's down Bayard Street.
Right,
All
but
all of those will be presented.
The owners of the properties from Bridge Street to Ovid Street have already signed off on this?
They're going to be notified by certified mail because they are an adjacent.
You said they're going to be notified of
Of
this
the
public forum.
of the public.
I'm saying, have they signed off on use of their property for this sewer line?
There is
And it
not-
doesn't seem like we should
No,
do
there-
this
there's-
until we have all those ducks in a row.
No, there's no sign off by them because this proposed route would not be on Bayard Street. The proposed route would be on Ludovico Trail.
But what happens at Bridge Street where the Ludovico Trail ends?
They will certainly be notified and they have a right to be heard.
So I stick by my statement. I don't see us doing this. This is a drastic measure, and I don't see us doing this until we've got the next block of this project lined up. And we don't, apparently. We haven't talked to Bruce Bonifiglia?
I don't think that is, the presentation that you're making is something that suggests that something needs to be done prior to this. The proper procedures to have a public hearing so people can be heard. That's what we're trying to do.
You're confusing the two issues.
I don't
I'm
think so.
not talking about the public hearing. I'm saying we don't have permission to run a sewer line through Bruce Bonifiglia's property. Do we?
What we need is eventually a determination of eminent domain for the right to acquire a right to do what we need to do.
We have to do this before we sign an agreement with them.
Yes, we do. We have to have.
That makes no sense. They're separate issues.
This is the procedure that is followed for eminent domain procedures in the state of New York.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 4-1. I'm glad we have people in the audience that agree with the passing of that. Enterprise agreement.
That's the cutters.
Okay, Chief, you want to speak a little on the enterprise agreement?
Yes. So the enterprise agreement on the agenda, that is to enter into a leasing agreement for both unmarked and patrol vehicles for the police department. Presentation was done a couple months ago here to the board members. Also shared the documentation with the new board members that have come on. I vetted this information through various resources, looked at it, and I really feel this is a big benefit to the town with substantial cost savings. So, and with that being said, I would like to have the board approve entering into this lease agreement with Enterprise.
At the chief's request, I did speak with their representative to review their contract language. That has been done. They did ask for certain documentation from the town, which is in the process of being provided in PDF format, and the rest is a board decision as to adopt this.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we enter into enterprise agreement for an unmarked and marked vehicle. on the
Motion,
lease.
motion on the floor?
Second.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Resignation of police officer.
Yes, so I regret to inform the board of the resignation of Officer Sean Peck, effective February 16, 2018. Officer Peck has accepted a full-time position with the Town of Brighton Police Department. Officer Peck began his career in the Finger Lakes Law Enforcement Academy of the Seneca Falls Police Department on February of 2015. Officer Peck began working with this agency in a part-time capacity after successfully passing the academy in June of 15. Officer Peck's diligent work ethic earned himself a full-time position in May of 2017. I'd like to thank Officer Peck for his dedication, compassion, and professionalism to the department, citizens, and those that visited Seneca Falls. Myself and the members of the Seneca Falls Police Department wish nothing but the best for Officer Peck in his future endeavors and bright police department and a safe law enforcement career.
I make the motion to approve the resignation of Officer Peck.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session on a personnel matter. And I would like to invite into that that executive session, the councilman, the attorney, the town attorney, and the police chief. I need a second.
Are we adjourning after the executive session?
No, we're not.
Okay, I'll second it.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. We're in executive session.